You can't be serious about that, can you?
I'm very serious about it.
I'll give him credit for that because there's a lot of
the bravery for running away when he got tired.
No, the bravery.
Sorry.
No, go on.
Sorry. From round one, running away, jumping up and down, falling down on the floor. Yeah.
$1 million.
He did not, but go ahead.
For a clown show. For a freaking clown show. Jake Paul embarrassed himself, embarrassed the sport, and embarrassed everyone that calls himself a fighter.
Stephen A. Smith confronted Jake Paul during a live interview following Paul's knockout loss to Anthony Joshua, questioning why he chose to face such an elite opponent so early in his career. Smith described the decision as extremely dangerous, pressing Paul on whether the risk had been worth it. Paul responded with confidence, insisting that he still has everything he needs to move forward, the best team money can buy, and a strong, disciplined training structure. He maintained that the loss would not derail his boxing ambitions and vowed to continue his journey in the sport, despite the setback.
Nah, definitely I need a few more fights. I'm not taking them on in my next bout, but a couple more years of experience with the team I got. I'm surrounded by the best team in the world possible that money can afford, so I'm getting exponentially better with every single fight.
Following Jake Paul's fight with Anthony Joshua, Logan Paul addressed the reaction from fans and critics, dismissing much of the backlashes coming from detractors who would criticize regardless of the outcome. He explained that competing at such a high level inevitably invites scrutiny, and this fight was no exception. Logan acknowledged that no one realistically expected Jake to defeat a two-time Olympic champion, but emphasized that his brother's confidence and willingness to take on the challenge made the effort remarkable. Even after suffering a broken jaw, Logan noted, Jake remained upbeat, joking and filming content from the hospital, demonstrating both resilience and a genuine love for the sport. According to Logan, it is this mindset, pushing through fear, pain, and adversity, that continues to drive Jake forward. Despite the loss, he viewed the fight as a net positive, arguing that it proved Jake's toughness and his willingness to face challenges most would never attempt, earning respect through perseverance rather than victory.
These are haters. Haters gonna hate. It's just the name of the game, you know. When you're operating at the high level that my brother and I are, the haters come with it. I mean, statistically speaking, part-timer, I think the narrative's dead. I've been showing up every single Monday for the past month and a half. I've wrestled in 4 out of the 5 times I was there. I won every single match. So, like, everyone who's yapping can now shut their trap because the narrative's dead.
I mean, you brought the receipts. I think that the proof stands for itself. And you mentioned your brother. Jake went 6 rounds on Friday night with Anthony Joshua. I know how proud you are of him. You were in the hospital with him afterwards. You called him an absolute warrior and said on your Instagram that his broken jaw won't break his spirit. How did you think, and what did you think of how the fight went down?
So, from strictly a logical point of view, I actually think it went down exactly as it was supposed to. I'm not sure anyone really thought that Jake was going to beat Anthony Joshua, but you have to understand, being his brother and in his close circle, he has this conviction that makes you believe, and he has this ability to defy reality and morph it into his vision of how it'll transpire that makes you think he'll win. However, like this was my opinion, this was a logical conclusion to the fight. The 2-time Olympian broke the influencer boxer's jaw. Like, okay, you know, we could have wrote it in a story and it would have made sense. That said, I think he did amazing. I'm incredibly proud of him. I think it was a net positive. I think the world can see now how tough Jake Paul is and how fearless he is.
Eddie Hearn offered his perspective on Jake Paul's performance against Anthony Joshua, arguing that those who dismissed the fight as just running missed the full context. From the start, it was evident that Paul had little chance of victory against a fighter of Joshua's caliber. As a result, his primary objective became survival. Hearn emphasized that the real measure of success was how long Jake could last in the ring, and he exceeded expectations by lasting all 6 rounds. Many doubted he could endure even a few, yet he displayed remarkable resilience, managing to withstand the power and skill of a top-tier heavyweight. While Paul may not have been competitive in the conventional sense, Hearn stressed that simply surviving against an elite opponent is an achievement in itself. Enduring 6 rounds under those conditions highlighted Jake's toughness, mental strength, and ability to handle extreme pressure, making his performance impressive despite the loss.
People are going to say, well, Jake was running and Jake was hold. But listen, I mean, at the end of the day, Jake had one job, and that was to try and survive. I mean, he was never, ever going to win the fight, ever. And if you would have said to me, do I think he'll go 6 rounds? I would have said absolutely not. I mean, I felt that it would take AJ a couple of rounds to get hold of him, because I knew Jake can move a bit and he'd be moving off the back foot and he'd be holding. But it was the way that he did it, I think, was actually quite impressive. Like, not that particular part, but the way that he would, the way that he was strong in the clinch. He wouldn't let AJ get his shots off in the clinch. He made him miss a few times. And obviously, AJ's been out of the ring for a while. But to be honest, I think the most fascinating thing of the whole night in terms of the fight was how he didn't get flatlined by that right hand. I mean, I said going into the fight, it's probably going to take AJ a few rounds to get hold of him. And I also said, as soon as he lands clean, the fight's over, right? He landed a few before, but the first that he landed really clean was the final shot. But, he never flatlined Jake. I mean, he did break his jaw in 2 places, which is a disaster. But there are a lot of heavyweights that would have been out cold from that right hand. I mean, one of them was Francis Ngannou in a pretty similar shot, really. Do you know what I mean? So I actually give Jake unbelievable credit for doing it in the first place, but his performance as well. I mean, I stand by the fact that I think he's just a decent cruiserweight, but he did go in with Anthony Joshua, and look, the world is full of criticism and opinions and negativity. Who else is doing what he's doing at what is he, late 20s? I mean, quite phenomenal. I mean, the guy's a complete madman. I'm watching him come out to that ring walk, and he's just an incredible entertainer.
Stephen A. Smith further stated that Jake Paul cannot rely on his YouTuber background as an excuse when facing a truly elite fighter like Anthony Joshua. Smith argued that if Paul still primarily identifies as a YouTuber, he should not step into the ring against top-level boxers. According to Smith, competing in high-stakes professional fights demands full commitment, a recognition of the sport's rigor, and an understanding that fame or crossover reputation cannot substitute for skill, preparation, or experience.
Training with professional boxing trainers for years. He takes the sport very seriously.
Thank you. So let me ask you, that's the question I have, because great kid, great businessman, by the way, amazing. And I know how he does all this, the character and the persona. We keep saying that he doesn't want to be a boxer. He's not a boxer. But then
Jake Paul is a boxer.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my point.
Exactly. He's a boxer.
He can fight. I respect it. So go in there against fighters. You should be climbing the ladder towards those other fighters and taking the sport seriously to the point where you're fighting actual boxers.
Derek Chisora was hesitant to give Jake Paul full credit following his fight with Anthony Joshua, questioning the notion that simply stepping into the ring constitutes bravery. He dismissed claims from voices like Chris Eubank Jr., who suggested Paul deserved respect for showing up and lasting 6 rounds. Chisora noted that much of the fight saw Paul running, avoiding meaningful exchanges, taking falls, and throwing only a handful of punches. In his view, true bravery is not about enduring pain or performing for money. It is about risking one's life for a greater cause, such as representing one's country in combat. While acknowledging that Paul committed to the event, Chisora argued that surviving 6 rounds against a professional like Joshua does not automatically translate to respect for skill or courage. He also criticized Paul for turning the loss into social media content rather than demonstrating authentic combat bravery, emphasizing the difference between spectacle and genuine valor in the sport.